Murphy breaks off, and joining me in the commentary box for this one is Stephen Hallworth. I think on paper, Stephen, this is the most attractive group we've seen so far in the tournament.
Yes, good afternoon everybody. I could not agree more with you, Phil. Without a shadow of a doubt, this group is definitely the best on paper. 4 players could quite easily win this group. Don't write this man off, James Cahill, at the table. As you say, nicknamed the Giant Killer for a reason. He's had some brilliant scalps in his short career so far. But Shaun, Murphy, Dave Gilbert, Tepchire and New, 3 superb players. I've been very excited to see this one. It'll be interesting to see how it all unfolds.
The slight double kiss did Cahill no favours there, especially if he's left the red just below the black.
Well,
what a great early chance this is for the Magician. Nicely in around the black spot. A couple of open reds as well. Looking to get straight into that pack. He's opened up a few reds, but he may have just covered the one to the middle.
8.
Well, he was okay. So on he goes. And now this is a really good chance.
He came through his first group with a 100% record. Made a very good start, actually, in beating Andrew Paget 3-0. Then he beat Lucas Kleckers 3-1. And Tian Peng Fei by the same score, but he didn't really display his best in those last couple of matches. Indeed, against Kleckers, there was a possibility it might have only been a draw.
$23.
Not quite a full pocket to aim for here. Excellent.
24.
Yeah, that was a very nice pot actually from Shaun Murphy. As you say, he didn't really have a clear line through to the pocket and could not have played it any better. Trusted his line and picked it perfect. And another nicely played delicate cannon. So already Shaun Murphy at the table,
30.
in for the early kill in this opening frame.
$32.
We say it all the time, but it really is true. This opening game in this Championship League, in this format, is so important. If you get off to a good start, get a win, you feel like you're sitting pretty straight away. And quite the opposite, if you lose the opener, you're almost chasing results for the rest of the day, and a little bit of you is
37.
sort of relying on results as well to go your way. It's not a great place to be. It's not a good mindset to be in.
38.
We only had 2 3-0 results yesterday. They were in the opening matches on the 2 tables. And just to prove what Stephen was saying, Rob Milkins beat John Astley 3-0 in one match, On table 2, Noppon Sankon beat Liu Hongyu
45.
3-0 in the other, and both Milkins and Sankon went on to top the table.
46.
In the opening phase against Andrew Paget, as I said before, Murphy was off to a flyer. He would love to duplicate that. He beat Paget 3-0 in no time with breaks of 79, 110 and 83.
$51. $52. $59.
The red he just looked at to the right-hand middle pocket theoretically will pot. But it's such a small target that he
60.
did absolutely the right thing there. Because if he can pot the pink and the one genuinely loose red, he'll only need one more colour to win this frame in one visit.
And that was a nice positional shot Shaun's just played there. He sort of had a little nod
66.
at the shot before he got down. Knew he was having to be pretty pinpoint with his positional play there. Navigated the cue ball nicely in and out of balk. Followed it up with a nice
67.
red. This has been a lovely break from Shaun.
And if it gets down to it, sizable breaks could be a tiebreaker. So he's setting a mark early and now getting right in behind the red he looked at earlier. That makes it a lot easier.
73. $74. $79. Shaun Murphy. 79.
The
On the
double
first frame.
is wide. First frame, you thought Cahill might get a little bit of practice on the table, get his arm going. Not the case, he concedes, and so Shaun Murphy makes a very agreeable start. Shaun Murphy trying to get into the Elite 8 here on Friday, finals day at the
second
Bedford
frame.
Championship League.
James
And 8
Cahill.
was the number there, the number of minutes taken to win the first frame. James Cahill on the back foot already. Quite a gulf in places between these two in the world rankings. Murphy's the world number 7, Cahill 91st. But he leads there past head-to-heads 2-1. And now a chance. Yes, Cahill beat Murphy 4-2 in the last 64 of the Welsh Open in 2019. Made a century. And he also beat him 4-3 in the last 64 of the WST Classic, right here at the Morningside Arena in March. Murphy made a 143 break in that match, and he led 3-2, but Cahill got the verdict. Of course, the name Giant Killer, the nickname, comes from when he beat Ronnie O'Sullivan in the first round at the World Championship. But he's also beaten Dingshan Wei, Mark Selby, and as I say, on a couple of occasions, his opponent here.
Yeah, he's a funny player, is James. Very, very talented lad. Growing up with him, he's a similar age to myself, I believe, and he's never shied away from those big moments. You know, put him up against the best in the world, and he can compete like he is one of the best in the world. But then put him out the back in the leisure centres, in the games that, you know, you've really got to win to sort of rocket yourself up the rankings. That's what's let him down over the years, and he'll tell you the same himself. And he won't be at all, you know, intimidated by his opponent today. Any of them, they're all fantastic players. He'll be trying to take it to them today.
60.
Don't you worry about that.
Certainly held up under pressure in the previous phase. He lost his second match, so went into his third, needing to beat Matthew Selt 3-0. And that's what he did. Selt having won his first two matches comfortably and impressively.
24.
Yeah, it was a funny old game, that one, actually. I interviewed James after that match against Matt, and I was just wondering if he was aware of the situation before going into the game, and he wasn't, but he picked up on
25.
it mid-match. He saw how hard Matt was trying to really, you know, he needed just one frame to win, did Matt, and he was really trying his best to get that frame, and James clicked onto that, and from there just saw the game out. It was a bit scrappy, but he got the job done in the end.
Coming up next, one of the most exciting talents I think snooker's ever produced. Thailand's Thepchai Anu will be playing Dave Gilbert. Fans of Anu must be very frustrated the way he performs. Sometimes he's out of this world, and then others not there. Very inconsistent. But when he plays his best, he looks like a world beater.
Yes, he's a sensational talent. He's Thepchai Anu. Very excited to watch him in action. He'll be on following this match, taking on Dave Gilbert. But as for James Cahill, he's found himself in amongst the balls, and he's got a half a decent chance here. Pink off its spot is not ideal to go into the pack, so may choose to play up for bought colour here. Try and leave himself an angle to come off the side cushion, attack the pack from the side. Well, he's been a little bit unfortunate there because he hit that pack quite nicely.
39.
Couldn't have played it much better than that. If it had just not cannoned that top red half ball, he would have maybe stayed in the centre of the table. So that possibly his end of break.
With a 39-point lead, I think it'd be ill-advised to get the blackout, keep it there, make Murphy's life as difficult as possible in terms of the counter.
James Cahill. 39.
Interesting finish to the first frame of the day on table 2. Looked as though Michael Holt was going to win it against Zhou Yulong, but he missed a pink off its spot using the rest. And now Zhou Yulong has got the chance to clear.
16.
Nicely on the blue. The black, clearly a potential stumbling block. What a setback though this would be for Holt early on.
Yeah, he got Zhou Yulong into a really tough snooker, and Zhou eventually did hit the red, but he left it, and Michael just needed to pot the pink. The red was there waiting for him underneath the blue. Absolute sitter. But that black is far from a sitter for Zhou Yulong. Needs a good pot on the pink as well. Oh, he's missed it. He's missed it. Can you believe it?
We will keep you informed. So the pink being missed by both players in that frame. As for Murphy, he's just relieved the red he went for. Came to rest there. Thought for a moment it might be over the pocket.
Chance for Shaun to maybe get James in a bit of trouble here. He can get to the red on the side cushion. It's quite a big target in behind the brown and yellow, but just needs to be careful he doesn't send the red down the table over the pocket. Chance of a shot to nothing for James. There's a red available. Cue ball will naturally be finding the line to go up behind yellow or brown as well. May choose to swing it round just a fraction wider to give himself the option of the brown if he does pot the red.
Troublesome this. I'll tell you what, Stephen, he'll settle for that.
Yeah, if he could have put the cue ball anywhere on the table, it would have been as close to that right side cushion as we look at it as possible. This is super thin, this red for Shaun Murphy, although he is going to be attempting it. The cue ball may be going close to the reds. I wonder if he can just hit it thin enough to avoid the pack. Oh, he's just skimmed off it.
One.
He's got a shot at the yellow or the brown.
On table 2, Michael Holt. There's one
Yellow.
a thrilling opening frame on the black. Zhou Yulong played a poor safety, left it very close to the middle pocket.
Oh, how well has he cued that? He's blessed with such a tremendous cue action, Shaun Murphy, but
3.
he still never fails to amaze you when he strikes a ball as clean as that. That was delightful.
Very much against Murphy, very much in favour of Cahill. The fact that the two highest value colours are entirely out of commission.
7. Eight.
He's going to have to work very hard for this break. The cue ball's going to be travelling. He's not scoring very many
Yellow.
points either. So he's not really impacting James Cahill's lead at the moment. Although he is still at the table.
Ten.
Spotting the blue would provide some light relief.
$11.
But right now, coming down off yellow or green makes position on the open
Yellow
reds
ball.
a little easier to attain. But as you say, Stephen, the break was going up in small
Shaun
increments and it was
11.
asking a lot.
Well, what a miss that was from James Cahill. That was very much unexpected. The miss on the yellow from Shaun Murphy presented James with a great chance, and he's thrown in a quick one. And to make things worse, he's just flicked the black out as well.
One.
Yes, that was a calamitous shot from Cahill. Apart from the red below the pink now, everything's there.
Just having a little look at the side of the table there, and it's something I noticed as well. The Rasson tables seem to be a little bit... The wood of the table seems to be slightly raised compared to the cushion, and sometimes as you deliver in the cue, it can almost feel like as you go through and hit the ball that your cue sort of like glides along the wood and makes contact with it, where it wouldn't usually. It's a little bit off-putting at times, but didn't put Shaun off that long red he's knocked in. And if he's on this red, you could not have landed any better there.
Five.
Rob Spencer, the referee, will put the black back on its own spot here. There's room. So I think he tried to remove that red a little.
$12.
Yeah, he would have loved a little bit more of a thicker contact to that red ball, although he still may be okay. You feel it's all going to be about that red underneath the pink in a couple of shots' time. He'll try and leave himself an angle off the black.
30.
Should be okay to either play the little stun run through here on the black, just push the red onto the right corner pocket. That's not great. And this is a tricky one now.
20.
Maybe it's time here to just dolly the red in and lay the snooker in a variety of locations, actually.
Shaun Murphy, 20.
Frame wide open.
Yeah, they're very tricky, them down the rail, particularly at that pace. So a let off for James Cahill. He's got to be careful here. There's a big target behind the yellow and the blue up in that corner of the table, although getting there would mean pushing the red over the corner pocket, so that's why he's choosing to just bring the cue ball back behind the black. Send the red up to the balk. Oh, he doesn't want to go past that green. It's just about held up, although this red is on for Murphy, and I'm sure he'll be taking it on.
One.
That is another fantastic red from Shaun. At that pace, trusting his cueing, could not have hit it any nicer. Beautiful shot.
Choices here could lay a really evil snooker.
Yeah, the percentage shot here is to lay the snooker and make James attack the red underneath the pink from the cushion.
Brown ball.
At least that way Murphy's got 2 chances of getting
So
on the red.
Murphy-
James has first of all got to hit the red without giving away any penalty points, and then he's got to get it safe, which, being as close to the pink as it is not very easy to do. You're relying on catching a thin edge, and you've got to be so accurate for that. If you miss it, you leave a free ball.
The black also proving a hindrance in terms of escape routes. So it's the 2 cushion, I think.
I think the 2 cushion escape's probably his best option here, because he's got more of a chance of coming at the red from the side and catching the edge and going back up to balk potentially. Coming off the top cushion, you're bringing into play the full ball contact, which would surely leave the red and the cue ball in the middle of the table and present a great frame winning chance for Shaun. So it's going to be the 2 cushion escape. Yeah, that's very good. Well played.
Shot of the frame. Will it be the most consequential shot? Just a sliver of the red poking out.
He's been quite fortunate there as Shaun, because the only part of the red that James can see is pushing it towards that right corner pocket. Cue ball may be travelling close to the middle. It's not as easy as it looks, this safety shot. He's got to be very careful with this one. I wouldn't like to be playing this slow and try and just drop it onto the side rail. That's fraught with danger.
Well, he thought the green might provide a potting guide, so why not chance his arm? And it's worked out okay. Well, Dennis Taylor often talks about the dreaded double kiss. That was the diabolical double kiss.
Or in Murphy's case, the delightful double kiss, because he's got this safe. He can only catch a thin edge of it.
Well, I think there was a degree of justice there. Both players know where the balls are situated. The next mistake could be expensive. I say could because the green won't go into its natural pocket. But that's a problem that could be resolved. The last red. A vitally important ball.
Foul.
Oh no,
Shaun
disaster for James Cahill. He's gone for the red, he's missed it, got very close to it. Nearly fluked it in the middle, but the cue ball's gone in. Puff of the cheeks, and I'm not surprised.
As soon as he made contact with that, it looked overcut. Playing on the blue there to remove it, to allow the green to go into its normal pocket. But the red was never on target.
One. Blue ball. Six.
Just applying a touch of side there to force the cue ball out more for the yellow. He's 9 in front, so he needs yellow to blue.
Nice pot and needs
8.
that cue ball to travel. He's going to be okay. Similar story to the opening frame on table 2 as well. Zhou Yulong getting in nicely first, breaking down with a miss black, and Michael Holt back in for the clearance. 20 points in front. Red and black will be enough to secure this second frame, and a great start for Michael Holt. Competing as a Q School top-up. Of course, we know he's not of the standard. He's good enough still to be on the tour. Taking every advantage of his opportunity and playing some good stuff with it.
65.
Yeah, that's a 65 break. Oh, the green just about wriggles in. Much to Cahill's relief. So on table 2, 1 snooker required. On table 1, 2 pots away from snookers required.
Cheers, James. Thank you. Go on. 50. $20. 26.
The giant killer looking to
James
add to that narrative. He's back on level terms, but Murphy maybe should have been 2-0 ahead. The last red was overcut to a bulk pocket. Cahill 1, Murphy 1. Group D in the Bedvictor Championship League always looked like being one of those entertaining, unpredictable groups that we all like to see. Well, so far so good. Shaun Murphy, if you're just joining us, won the first frame with a 79 break. The second, scrappier, closer. Cahill shaded it on the blue. As for table 2, second frame still in progress. Zhou Yulong needing 1 snooker with 5 colours left. All on the right-hand side of the table, 2 reds left, but horribly hampered queuing over the brown. So Murphy more interested in the red on the left-hand side of the table.
Good attempt at the red, but not close enough for Shaun, and he's left the red to middle for James, who may just be able to stun down past the face of the pink and back up for a colour. Yeah, that's okay. If that cue ball travels on, that's fine. So now planning his route straight away, looking at the black spot. The red just to the right of it is an issue. In a few shots' time, may look to remove that, get the black fully out in the open. He's got a couple of loose reds available though for the time being. Well, I'm not sure he played that cannon, but that's worked out a treat. He's developed the blue as well.
3.
Yeah, the one thing about Cahill, as his record illustrates, graphically illustrates, he won't be frightened to win. But he'll be horrified to miss
James
that red.
Cahill 3.
Turns away in disgust.
He mentioned after his victory in phase 1 that he's using a new cue and he was struggling to get to grips with it with a couple of shots. You know, the timing ones, that was one of those shots where you're just having to get through the ball properly. He said he was just struggling with that a touch. Obviously he's had a chance to practice with it since phase 1.
It's something that's part of the tour story now, players changing cues quite often. Back in the 80s and 90s, it was considered a no-no. Only if you had to. Hardly ever by choice.
6.
Yeah, and I'm firmly in that camp, Phil. I've had my cue. It was made for me when I was 13 years old by a fantastic cue maker not far from where I live, David Coops,
7.
and since then I've used the same cue. I can't imagine using it. To be fair, I can hardly pot a ball with another cue. I can hardly pot a ball with my own cue some days, but I couldn't think of anything worse than swapping and changing. It's a tough enough game as it is. I think the only way I'd ever get a new cue is if something was to happen to mine. As you say, maybe some damage or something, but stick with what you know.
I tell this story all the time, so I apologise if you've heard it before, but I think it just rams home the point I'm
Fourth.
trying to make. Fred Davis, multiple World Championship winner in the 40s and 50s. He turned pro as a teenager in the 30s. He played his last match on the tour at the age of 78. And throughout that time, he used one cue and one cue alone.
50.
Murphy used his cue to good effect there. That was a really good red. Understanding the importance of driving home the advantage here,
20.
making Cahill feel even worse about missing the red with the rest. Can confirm, by the way, Zhou Yulong didn't get the snookers he needed on the other table, so Michael Holt 2-0 ahead. Go on, Holty.
Murphy with a superb campaign last season, quarters at the UK Champs, same at the Masters. He had a couple of semi-finals, of course winning the Tour and the Players' Championship as well. Superb season, pocketing £440,000. I'm sure he'd love more of the same this season. And what a way to kickstart things if he was to win this group today. Get through to the final 8 on Friday. Who knows, he's more than capable of lifting this title as well. Rob Spencer surgically placing the pink. Doesn't go on its own spot, so having to be replaced in a direct line behind its own spot there. So at the back of the pack of reds, in a direct line behind it, as close to it as possible without touching.
Thank you, Shaun. 29. $30. $37. $38.
Murphy, one of only 11 players to have won double digits ranking titles. He's captured 11, one more than Jimmy White. 3 behind Ding Junhui, the top of the list, of course.
40.
Number 2, Stephen Hendry with 36, Ronnie O'Sullivan with 39.
46.
Oh, great effort to get into the pack from Shaun. The 2 cushion from the blue, just skimming the pink.
51.
Not a good enough contact to bring anything into open play, so that may be end of break for Shaun. Unless there's a plant hiding in that pack, I don't think there is. Just becoming thin off this red.
Shaun Murphy. 51.
Good safety shot from Shaun as well, using the brown as the coverage. I think he's covered every red as well, so James may be faced with a similar shot to what he played in the previous frame. 2 cushions, trying to just catch the pack of reds thin enough to send the cue ball back to the baulk area.
Foul and a miss. Shaun Murphy. Yeah.
All about the weight on the cue ball. 4 points for Murphy with an already substantial lead. Welcome. I don't think Murphy's got any great hopes about getting a chance to tidy this up and move 2-1 ahead at this particular moment.
Yeah,
I think he believes Cahill will have the necessary touch to go into the bunch, but all penalties gratefully received. Knew the cue ball was going back to the safety of baulk, but he didn't want the red to come back with it. No damage done in terms of that red, but he might have left a shot to nothing here. Well, given Murphy's potting from distance, damage might have been done there. Another roll on the cue ball and he would have had horrible cueing over the brown, but he can definitely access the red that Cahill has just taken on.
Yeah, and even though the brown is next to the cue ball, this is a cueing shot for Shaun. It's a little bit off-putting when there's another ball so close to the cue ball, but it's not made a difference. This man strikes the ball so crisply, so straight.
Nearly overcut this red, that's why the cue ball travelled a little more, so rather than being on the black straight, he had a tougher one, and
Shaun Murphy.
It's missed, so all of a sudden this frame becomes up for grabs again. Second ball over the cut. Remember the red, the last red, to the baulk pocket in frame 2.
Well, he's pondering over that one, and I am as well. Didn't see that coming at all. That was a really bad miss from Shaun. He didn't really get close to it either, which is the surprising part. Chance for James, and a chance for Zhou Yulong to level, well, get himself back into this game and give himself a chance of level in the game. He's got it nicely.
61.
Break goes to 61 over on Table 2, Matchroom Multisport YouTube channel, your destination for all the action on Table 2 today. Got another fantastic group over there as well. Zhao Gudong and Ben Wollaston following that game.
8.
Yes, and even though Zhou Yulong is behind in that match, does have the opportunity to build a very big break, which might be useful in the final analysis. Cahill's
9.
previous positional shot wasn't useful, but he's dug out a recovery.
If he can take the pink here, get himself nicely on the red to leave himself a chance of getting an angle on the black, he'll be able to try and disturb the two reds on the top cushion. They
50.
will need tending to. They're not ideally situated. There we see, just coming around to have a look. He wants to be top side of high. Oh, left-handed, that's a great shot from James. He's cued that lovely with his opposite hand. And now he's got a chance to disturb the red. If you can get quarter half ball cannon to the red left of the screen on the cushion, it may just push it onto the left corner pocket. If he doesn't, he may still be on the other one. Bit of a double chance shot. Yeah, he just didn't quite get into the cue ball enough to bring it back and just grab the white. So he's caught the red, but not enough of it. He does have a shot on this red though. It's much more difficult though.
23. James Cahill, 23.
Normally catching the blue is expensive, not there. Can't tell you, Zhou Yulong's break in the third frame against Michael Holt was 107. So Holt's lead reduced to 2-1. One.
Nice red from Shaun. If that cue ball bounces, he'll have an angle on the blue to get back down the table. 31 points the lead. So just needs one more red and a colour to make absolute sure.
6.
So frame ball red doesn't want to hit this too hard, give it every chance of going in. Yeah, he's played that at a
7.
lovely pace and he's nicely on the black. So that black
40.
means James Cahill requires 3 snookers in this frame. A very tall order, especially if Murphy pots this red.
Thanks, Shaun.
And that is that. 2-1 to
50.
Shaun. He's guaranteed himself the draw in this game, but he won't be wanting that. He'll be wanting to take all 3 points.
$22. Shaun Murphy 22. And the frame.
Cahill had first chance in that frame, but he missed a red using the rest, and eventually Shaun Murphy has taken a 2-1 lead. But as Stephen said, it's all riding on the last frame coming up after the break. You looked at the personnel involved today in both groups and you thought these are going to be tight
The 4th
with twists and turns. Well,
James Cahill.
both matches currently in progress in groups D and A. Both have gone to a 4th frame. A vital 4th frame. It certainly applies here. If Murphy can get off to a winning start, he might be difficult to stop. For Dave Gilbert and Tepchai Anu coming up next in what should be another attractive affair. I think both of those will be hoping for a 2-all draw here.
Yeah, absolutely they will be, because that then leaves the door slightly ajar for one of them to go on and be the table topper, should they get the win in their match.
One.
Well, again, James Cahill does not mind playing a shot left-handed, and he could not have played that any better. That was a super fine cut. And look at the control. So difficult to do with your opposite hand when you've not quite got the touch. He couldn't have played that any better. And this is a nice early chance in this frame to at least build a good lead and put the pressure on Shaun.
Yes, not just spotting that red, he had to avoid 2 others. He completely missed one of them and just faintly skimmed off the other. That's why he gained position, and this is promising.
7. $8.
The black nicely available, and after this shot may clear it into both pockets. They can just run through and get on the red. Just to the right of the black, well, playing it into the same pocket. So this is really going to open things up for James Cahill. There is a red available at the back of the pack as well that just having a little look at now. He can leave himself low on that, play a shot where you can bring some other reds into play as well. So already planning his route.
60.
I think if you're going to get something out of this group today, particularly this group on table 1, you're going to have to score heavy. We say it all the time how important it is to score heavy at this level, but the the 3 other players to
20.
James Cahill in this group are such tremendous scorers. James is going to have to compete in that department, try and kill off the frames as quickly as possible. And playing shots like this is going to help him along that way. Potting a red, bringing more into play.
$24.
No good. For a split second, I thought the cue ball might be running in off. 0 position.
Yeah, playing the topspin, you never quite know where the cue ball is going to finish. You're just unsure slightly as to how much response you're going to get out of the white and what sort of cannon you're going to get off the pack, and the cue ball's absolutely flown through the reds. Could have been perfect. He's opened the reds nicely, but he's not on a colour, so needs to play a good safety shot here. Oh, and he's got away with one. He's just flicked the red. He didn't intend to.
24.
These groups in the second phase now, involving all first phase group winners. Keenly contested, as you might imagine, with the 2 matches going on at the moment included. That's 12 consecutive matches over the course of yesterday and today, where 3-0s have been absent.
Worth noting as well for James, yes, he's got his work cut out today, but this is effectively the last 32 of a ranking event. Should he win his group today, it'll be the quarterfinals, and that'll be his first quarterfinal of his career. 3 times he's been in the last 16 of a ranking event. So there's a lot at stake today for James.
Yeah, really good observation that, Stephen. And I'm not sure whether it officially goes down as a quarterfinal. It should do, because it's the same principle if you're in the last 8.
Yeah, it's a strange little scenario really, because when you're out there playing, you wouldn't be thinking about that, but effectively it is the last 8 of a ranking event, and even if you do make it through to Friday, I presume you won't be thinking about being in the quarterfinals. You can win that group on Friday, and all of a sudden you are in a ranking final. That's what is at play here.
Yes, because it's a knockout. If you do get to the title showdown, that does count as a ranking final appearance. Lots of snooker to go before then. Four players already into finals day. Chris Wakelin, Rob Milkins, Nopon Sankar, Mark Williams.
Murphy's played a really nice safety shot there. Thin edge on the red. Could not have played it any better. Got his pace absolutely spot on. He's cut off the left side of the table for James with the yellow. May have to just play this with a trace of side, or perhaps coming off the top cushion trying to catch the red thin. Yeah,
Foul.
that's a very
Yeah.
tough shot from there.
Shaun Murphy. Yeah.
And on the way down towards the top cushion, Stephen, there was no likelihood whatsoever that he was going to make contact with that.
No, he needs much more side on the cue ball for that shot, and of course that then increases your chances of overcompensating and catching the red nice and full, leaving your opponent down the business end of the table.
Yeah, Shaun. Yeah.
This will be a very good shot if James can pull this one off. Well, that's not bad from there. That's a good shot from James, and Shaun will tap the table.
Yeah, the end position worth 4 points of anyone's money. Similar kind of exchange going on in the fourth frame on table 2. Michael Holt and Zhou Yulong battling away, safety-wise, trying to force an opportunity. And that's exactly the same thing here. Good attempt, but that was a low percentage for me. And now Murphy right in amongst them.
Yeah, he spent a couple of minutes there, James, just pondering over what to do. It was a percentage shot, but not necessarily in James's favour. He was bound to stick everything up for Shaun Murphy. Had he missed it, he has missed it, and this is a fantastic chance now for Shaun Murphy to go on and clinch this frame and the match with it. It was a tough pot on the red for James. Always difficult when they're so close to the side rail, especially over that sort of distance.
Now he's missed a couple of shots, not unlike this.
8. No.
Could not have been more authoritative. That tells us the red next to the pink will pot. In turn, completely freeing the pink.
60.
I think he wanted to be slightly straighter on it though.
Yeah, may have to just play up for blue here. Shouldn't be an issue for Shaun though. Plenty of open reds available for him.
70.
See how ultra self-critical these top players are. He was half a ball's roll away from being perfect on the red, and a little shake of the head because it was an elementary positional shot from Shaun. Just demand the highest of
20.
standards from themselves. But this is a great chance now.
23.
I think Shaun will win the frame at this visit.
thing with this format, we see time and again, there's no breathers,
28.
no let up. Every frame, every visit, there's pressure on.
$29.
He's just taking his time, is Shaun. He's not been quite as fluent as we're used to seeing him. Usually he's very quick round the table. He's almost slowed his stride down just a fraction. Well, I'm not sure about that shot.
35.
This red is very, very thin now.
$36.
Held the cue ball nicely. But prime position still to be restored.
$38. $39.
Yeah, he's definitely just taking an extra second, is Shaun. Even his cueing when he's down at the table. We're used to seeing that laser-like action. So fluent. He's definitely just taking a second, possibly just trying to ease himself into this today. Try not to do anything daft in this opening game. Just really give everything to getting the 3 points. And as the day goes on,
44.
it'll certainly be a match for everyone.
That was well conceived, coming off a couple of cushions. One red in, another
46.
open. And now pretty much everything open.
$53.
So it was that brave red that James decided to take on that let Shaun in for this chance. Break goes to 53. 33 points to the good is Shaun Murphy. Can't see him going wrong from here. He's taken these nicely, steadied himself throughout the break, and it looks like he's going to have done enough to take the 3 points.
The only thing I'll say, he missed a black like this earlier on, overcutting it. I think he's wise actually to take the pink. Frame and match ball coming up.
60. $61.
We can't really second guess James Cahill. Had the red gone in, we would have been praising him to the hilt. It was risky though, and he's paid the price.
Yeah, it was one of those shots where the safety shot was probably just as hard as the pot attempt, and you know, if you go for the safety shot and you butcher it, you wish you'd have gone for the red, and similarly if you go for the red and you miss it, you wish you'd have played the safety shot. That's what makes this game so interesting and so infuriating for players at times.
$44 the difference, 35
Shaun
on the
Murphy.
table.
60.
That means he needs 3 snookers, but obviously there's always the possibility with a red left of getting a free ball. Murphy just wants to knock this in, go upstairs, have a short rest, and then play match 3 of this session against Tepchara Nu. Have to wait a while though.
Foul. Shaun Murphy 6.
That's
Claim.
that though
Good match.
now.
Thanks, James.
Shaun Murphy defeats James Cahill by 3 frames to 1. He started off with a break of 79 in the first frame, made 51 in the third, and a 6